But this is Parshas Dvarim. We're now in Parshas Dvarim. Mugga that came out at the end of the Shloshim of the Rebbetzin. The 21st of Adar.
But it was said originally in Chaf Hei.
What?
It was originally said in Chaf Hei, but it came out Mugga in Memches.
What did you say? We're learning it now. We'll set up Chaf Hei. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the end of 11 months for Rebbetzin Chana. That's what it was.
No, see, Mashloishim.
But it was said on the 11th month when the Rebbe finished saying Kaddish, B'av Tishrei, to an Iber
He says in the star there, it's the day, the end of the Kaddish for Rebbetzin Chana.
Right.
So they chose this for the Shloshim of the Rebbetzin Chaim Mushka. Yeah. So the pasuk says in Yeshaya, Beela, HaMoves LaNetzach, death will be swallowed up forever. Ramocha ma'alikim, dima ma'alkaponim, and Hashem alikim will wipe away the tear from every face. Mavai Admo Marash Mamaradi b'Meschal Zed. The Rebbe Marash explains on this in his mind on these words and says, so why will death be swallowed up when Mashiach comes? So because then will be Hashem will remove the spirit of impurity from the world. So there's no impurity, there's no death. So the Ruchni's Dike fixing translates naturally in the end of physical death. So what's the connection? So I'll understand this by first prefacing that which the pasuk, which we'll soon quote, gives the reason. What does the pasuk say? What brought? The pasuk explains why is there death in the world. The pasuk tells us in the story of because of the sin of the h'tשכ that they ate from the forbidden fruit. So we see in the pasuk itself that death and the sin of h'tשכ, the first, are connected. Bringing to all the matters as follows: what was they ate from the tree of knowledge? So what happened? They were told not to. The two trees in Gan Eden, the Eitz, the tree of knowledge, and what was the second tree? The Eitz, the tree of life. So they ate from the Eitz. So what happened? By ingesting this, so they made a mixture between Toiv and Ra. Because before that, there was Toiv and there was Ra, but the boundaries are very clear. There was no confusion, and nobody in their right mind would cross it unless they were seduced. The Metzias Ra, there was evil before the Chet. Klippa, on the contrary, like a shell which protects the fruit. That's how Klippa was. It was separate, clearly distinct. As it's known from the Torah of the Arizal, so the realm of Klippa was clearly separate and below the worlds of holiness. It was a black and white world and simple. But then by ingesting the Eitzadas, the tree of knowledge, because man is a microcosm of the universe, so by them ingesting it, taking it within, it's the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Eitzadas toivara. So initially they were separate, but now they absorbed it. So naset arubas toivara b'chol olam. On every level, they cause this mixture of toivara. Shara, there's motive batoiv. The good news is there's no absolute bad. There's some good there. Batoiv bara, and the good is mixed in the bad. Here he says, to the extent, quoting here, from the Frierdiker Rebbe, okay? There's no good without Rav, and there's no bad without some element of good. Which means that every level of good needs to be perfected still endlessly. And on the other hand, every Ra, it's redeemable. And therefore, that's why the story continues, that once they ate from it, so Hashem had to banish them. Why did they have to leave Gan Eden? What's the basic reason? Because now they have to be banished. Pen yishlach yodai, lest Adam send forth his hand, v'lakach gam be'etzach chayim, and you'll eat from the tree of life, v'achal v'chay lo'elam, and you'll live forever. We can't have him live forever. The l'chayda, on the contrary, that's the solution. Initially, the creation of man was such to live forever. He was told, don't eat from the tree of knowledge, because you will die, it'll bring death. The pasuk says, God instructed to not eat from the tree of knowledge. They shouldn't eat from it, because the day you eat it, you'll bring death. You'll die that day, but you'll bring death. Death is already part of your existence. So therefore, he did. So what would we care? What's the problem? So now fix it. You brought death, now fix it. Eat from the tree of life. I'll live forever. That's the tikkun. Why is it forbidden? Questions clear? Yeah? So what we're saying now answers the question. Explains the Alter Rebbe, till now he was innocent and pure, but now he's incorporated also Ra. Therefore, now, don't eat from the Yitzchayim, because now there's the fear, pen yishlach, lest he send forth his hand, if he's going to live forever, if man lives forever, then evil will also live forever, exist forever, and we don't want that. So explains the Alter Rebbe. Now the Rebbe appears yesh loima. So based on the Alter Rebbe, we understand. Suggests this that through the sin of eating the tree of knowledge, there was death in the world. So death is a blessing in order that the Ra, which is being ingested, should not endure forever. So death in the world comes because there is Ra, and it should end. So therefore there's death. Clear? So it's not a tikkun. Death is not a tikkun of the Ra. It just ensures that it doesn't endure endlessly. So now, till now, he said that why is there death? We have to impose it, because if we don't, the Ra will exist forever. But the Rebbe is suggesting on a deeper level that it's actually a consequence of the death. Not just we better put this in place, otherwise we're in trouble. People live forever, the world will self-destruct. But more than that the union of Misa itself is a consequence, not just a necessary imposition, limitation on life, but it actually is a result itself of the death. This is explaining the Reb Marash. So why would there be no death, lost in love? Right? Because there's no tumah. So if there's no ched, naturally there's no death. This is this is what he's driving at and explaining, level by level. First level, Misa is necessary to stop it. Secondly, we have to understand that Misa is a consequence. Life is only in Kedusha. But evil and impurity, the opposite of Kedusha, HaMoves, that's death. It's existence, but it's death. Since with the Chet so evil has become part of a person, which means spiritual death is part of him. Basically, somebody will explain it later, but death means completely insensitive. You don't feel anything. That's what death means. You don't feel anything outside of self, just wrapped up in self. So since this became part of the person, this Moves Ruch, this spiritual death, from that, the consequence of that is physical death. So therefore, and that's why death is swallowed up forever. Given shows his batlara, since there'll be no ra, Moves Ruchni, spiritual death. Therefore, naturally, as a consequence, death itself, physical, simple death, is swallowed up also. I'm not sure of the gum. Why? And that's also why? What's the also? Anybody? In addition to what? Misa, we said, was an imposition, because if it is forever, it'll be a disaster. That's kipshutai. So then, when the person is no longer sitting, so there's no need for death. That's the simple. But the gam is, the also is, it's a consequence. Not that we're going to remove death. It's a consequence. If you don't sin, naturally, there's no death. That's the Rebbe's Yesh Loima. We're clear on what the Alter Rebbe says explicitly in the Yesh Loima of the Rebbe, explaining the vote of the Rebbe Marash. Because the Rebbe Marash doesn't go into anything about there's no need for death anymore, because the person is not sinning. He says, Poshet. It's a direct result of it's a direct relationship, consequence. And that's what the Rebbe is explaining. We're clear? Yeah, ice base. Yeah, guys on the Zoom. Yeah, well, okay. So what's the reason why only lost at love? We haven't had Gila Liquas before. So why only then will evil be completely nullified? Spiritual death, therefore physical death will also no longer be. Who? Because then will be this very lofty revelation. And only then. Actually, temporarily, it did happen when? When?
Shleim.
Matan Torah.
And also by Shleim, by the basic Mikdash of Shleim, when Shleim was there.
There was no death?
No death. There was Gili Oyer.
No death is Matan Torah.
Okay,
had they not Chetei Tzadas, they would have been, had they not sinned the Chet HaEgel, that would have been then. So Matan Torah was and the end, a foretaste of Lasid Love. Which Lagabe Orizeh, but Lasid Love is in the face of such a divine revelation is battling b'meila kol amanagdim. All of the opposition to godliness is naturally nizbatl. Mavai by Maimon, Reb Marash explains that, yeah, Dagam Chayda we had, as you're saying, Chaim, first Beis HaMikdash, Shlomo HaMelech. Dagam Shegizman Beis HaMikdash Hayakayim. Even though there were times of divine revelation on earth, the time of the Beis HaMikdash, Ubefrat Bizman Bais Rishon, especially the time of the first Beis HaMikdash, Valachas Kam, become by Shlomo. And especially Shlomo was the 15th generation from Avraham, which symbolizes Kaim, most of the 15th day, the month is fully aligned with the sun. So the moon is Neshamas Yisrael, and the sun is the Shemesh Bogan Havaya Lekim, is the Eibishter. So the 15th of the month is the full alignment. That was Dafke Bizman Shlomo. That was the climax of Jewish history. And Taka then and Taka, there was an extraordinary revelation of godliness and because of it, Kol Hagoyim, this battle of fun of there was no opposition, didn't fight any wars. They completely won this battle. It was not through war at all. That's why he was called Shlomo. His neighbor told David the Melech, there will be peace in his day. So we had this already, but there was still death. Because the revelation was talking very lofty, but still in such a way, there was still place for Klippa, for Yeshes, for Chitzonim, for the extraneous forces. The extraneous forces could not siphon, corrupt Kedusha itself, but only the hinder levels. And Klippa did not have a hold on Kedusha Bepnimius, which is what Chet Etzadas did. It brought Klippa into every level of Kedusha. Shlomo Melech did a degree of purging, but not entirely. Bepnimius, yes, but Bechitzonius, Klippa still had a place. If you look at the story there, you see Shlomo Melech, Malchus Shavuot, but you're going to talk about the Queen of Sheba. There was still, on some level, the world and its trappings still had some significance. Talk external, but still, there was certainly spirals from the grandeur and the wealth and so on. So secondary, true, but still present. Okay, we'll continue. Beis Hashem, the brackets, which he's talking about, the Malchus Shavuot, and the Queen of Sheba came to Shlomo Melech. So we'll see that in the square brackets.